Now let's take a look at some specific examples of using stress or intonation, okay, when you are speaking. So, for example, let's start with a very, very simple one, which most of you should be aware of. In most cases, when you ask a question, okay, you indicate that you are asking a question by using rising intonation at the end of your sentence. So, for example, have you ever been to New York? Have you ever been to New York? Okay, you can hear the rising intonation. Okay, so at the end, you use rising intonation to signify you're asking a question. That is not vitally important in your IELTS, but that's something you should be aware of if ever you want to ask a question in your IELTS exam. Now, when you are listing things, okay, now remember, think back to a few lessons previous, we spoke about the magic of 3. So when you are listing things, the general pattern for intonation is down, down, up. Now this is obviously when you're listing 3 things. If you are listing 5 things, it would be down, 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 up. What we tend to do when we are listing things, okay, we list things with down intonation until we get to the end item, which is always finished with rising intonation. So, I like strawberries, cherries, and apples. I like strawberries, cherries, and apples. Yeah? So you can feel the reduced intonation, the downward intonation on strawberries and cherries, and then you can feel the and apples at the end, and that indicates the end of your list of things. So that's an important thing for you guys to practice when you're using the magic of 3. If you're making a statement, okay, commands don't worry about, but this is relevant for commands. If you are giving somebody an instruction, okay, at the end of your sentence, your intonation should fall. So any statement that you make, anything that is a statement, okay, at the end you should use falling intonation to let somebody know that it is a statement, not a question. Okay, so when you're making statements about things that you like, you enjoy, okay, make sure that you use falling intonation at the end of your sentence. Another intonation pattern that is important for you guys, now this would be probably more important for part 2 of your IELTS speaking exam, the topic card, okay. Sometimes you might want to take a slight pause between your sentences, or actually during a sentence. Now the pattern that we use when we are taking a breath, okay, is up, down, up, up, down, up. So for example, I might be in the middle of a long sentence that requires me to pause and just sort of take a breath before I carry on. So what I'm saying here with the up, down, up, I haven't finished yet. I haven't finished yet. Okay, so that up, down, up pattern, okay, is the natural pattern that we use when we are taking a pause, so we can stop, have a breather, and then carry on. Okay, that indicates to the person or the people listening that it's not a good time to interrupt because I am still speaking. Up, down, up. You should practice that one. That is important. Okay, new information versus old information. New information generally has falling intonation. Old information generally has rising information. What does this mean precisely? So, for example, imagine in one of your questions you were asked, I don't know, do you like going to the cinema? Yeah? Okay, so if the question is, do you like going to the cinema? So, cinema is old information because it's you've been given the information of the cinema. So whenever you mention the cinema again, it's old information, so you should use rising intonation with it. But perhaps you want to say, well, actually, no, I don't like going to the cinema. I prefer watching Netflix at home. Yeah? So I prefer watching Netflix. Netflix has falling intonation because it's new information. Yeah? But remember, once you have mentioned Netflix with falling intonation for the first time, it then becomes old information. So you have to remember, anything you're repeating has rising intonation. Anything that is new, that's being introduced, has falling intonation.